In the annals of basketball history, very few players have left an unforgettable mark the way Yao Ming has. Standing at 7 feet 5 inches tall, weighing 300 pounds, Yao's physical presence alone made him a force to be reckoned with. But in the history of the NBA, there's been a number of large athletes that have made it to the league. The likes of Sean Bradley, Slavko Vrains, Manute Bol, and George Morrison, to name a few. So what made Yao Ming any different? Well, it was his combination of size and skill. Standing 7 feet 5 inches tall, historically players that size are very limited. They either have bad stamina, limited coordination, or they are extremely slow. But that wasn't the case with Yao. He was strong, yet nimble. He could pass, dribble a little, and shoot the mid-range jumper consistently. But it wasn't just his contributions on the basketball court alone. His success off the court was just as big as his physical presence on it. Yao Ming's NBA career helped popularize basketball in China and contributed to the growth of the sport's popularity globally. His success and presence in the league opened doors for other international players, especially those from China, to enter the NBA. So how good was Yao Ming exactly? Was he ever considered as one of the best ever? Was he even considered as one of the best in the league? Well, to start things off, let's go back to the beginning. Yao Ming was born on September 12, 1980, in Shanghai, China, at Shanghai's Six People's Hospital. Yao was 5 kilos at birth, which is equivalent to 11 pounds, twice the size of a normal infant. It's not all that surprising considering that both of Yao's parents are pretty tall in their own right. Yao's dad is 6'7" and Yao's mom is 6'3". While height will never be in my family, it certainly was in theirs. Yao Ming showed an interest in basketball from an early age. He began playing the sport when he was 9 years old and quickly grew taller than his peers. By the time Yao Ming turned 12 years old, he was already 6 feet 6 inches tall. And for context, picture Michael Jordan playing for your 7th grade middle school team. At 14, Yao Ming began his professional basketball career with the Shanghai Sharks in the Chinese Basketball Association. For context, in the United States at age 14, you would be considered a freshman in high school, wondering how you're going to get to all your classes on time, whereas Yao Ming was a professional athlete at the same age. While pursuing his basketball career, Yao Ming also focused on his education. He attended the prestigious Shanghai Sports Technical College and continued his studies even as his basketball career took off. Yao Ming's impressive performances in the CBA over the years and on the Chinese national team brought him international recognition, as he would end up averaging 32 points, 20 rebounds, 4.5 blocks, all while shooting a ridiculous 76% from the field in the CBA. In 2000, he was the first overall pick in the NBA draft, selected by the Houston Rockets. This made him the first international player to be chosen as the top pick without having played college basketball in the United States. I remember personally watching this draft and saying, like, who is this dude? But I and so many others would soon find out. Although Yao had extreme hype and popularity coming into the league from China, Yao's rookie campaign would get off to an extremely slow start, as he would only score 10 points just one time in the first 7 games. But his breakout game would come in game number 8 against the Los Angeles Lakers of all teams. He would score 20 points, grabbing 6 rebounds while going 9 for 9 from the field. While Shaq did not play as he was recovering from surgery on his big toe, it was still a promising sign for the young big man. Questions started to rumble if Yao could be one of the best centers in the league. His combination of size and skills was just unheard of. But Shaq wasn't fond of the young big man. In fact, he made controversial comments about Yao Ming before they faced off for the very first time. On January 17, 2002, Shaquille O'Neal and Yao Ming faced off for their highly anticipated showdown for the very first time. The hype was real. The anticipation had built. It was the second highest rated NBA cable game ever on national TV, second behind Magic Johnson's second game out of retirement against the Chicago Bulls. Shaq was the reigning league MVP at the time, and while Yao was just a rookie, Yao was unfazed by Shaq's presence. In fact, he scored Houston's first 6 points while going directly at Shaq.
Will go off. 22 national writers, 8 international writers. They're watching live in Shanghai at 10:30 in the morning as O'Neal goes right at Ming, goes to the net, no foul called, and here come the Rockets.
In transition, Yao Ming wide open. Samaki Walker, good job slowing down the big man.
Yao, first touch. First shoot. Compact center on its feet. So many big names and big fellas in the building. Ming, the second block on O'Neal.
Shaq's going to have to go to his jump hook in transition.
Yao on the other end.
The best I've seen on Shaquille since the days of Akeem Olajuwon. Preparation, knees flex.
Attempt three, make two.
He's calling for the ball. He's just going right at the league's most valuable player.
Of the Rocket points.
This is a stunning start.
O'Neal looking for it. Up strong with help. Loses the handle. Frustrating offensive end for Shaq so far. Mobley a transition triple. Rimmed out. The second-year man, Griffin.
He goes up over somebody. Right here, gets kind of a little bit behind the backboard, and he's just so big.
While Shaq would go on to dominate the game, scoring 31 points and grabbing 13 rebounds, Yao would hold his own against the league MVP, scoring 10 points with 10 rebounds and 6 blocks, 3 of which were on Shaq, as the Rockets would go on to win the game in overtime. Just 3 weeks later, because of his insane popularity and the Chinese nation behind him, Yao Ming was voted in as an all-star starter, receiving the second most votes in the NBA, only behind Kobe Bryant, becoming the first rookie since Tim Duncan in 1998 to make the All-Star team, and one of only 3 players ever to be voted in as a starter in his rookie season. Although the Rockets would end up finishing 9th in the Western Conference and missed the playoffs by 1 game, Yao had a promising rookie campaign. He finished averaging 13.5 points per game, 8.2 rebounds per game, and just under 2 blocks at 1.8. He was second in the NBA Rookie of the Year voting behind Amari Stoudemire and a unanimous pick for the All-NBA Rookie First Team selection, while playing all 82 games in his rookie season. Things were looking up for Yao, and in his sophomore season, his points, rebounds, blocks, minutes, and field goal percentage all increased, as Yao would average 17.5 points per game, 9 rebounds, and almost 2 blocks at 1.9 per game, while shooting 52% from the field, leading the Rockets in pretty much every statistical category. He was selected as an all-star starter for the second consecutive season and would lead the Rockets to the playoffs for the first time since 1998. The Rockets would finish 45-37, good enough for the 7th seed in the Western Conference. But Yao and the Rockets would have an early exit, as the eventual Western Conference champion Los Angeles Lakers would gentlemen sweep the Rockets in just 5 games. A change was needed in Houston, and on June 29, 2004, one of the biggest trades in NBA history happened. The Houston Rockets sent 3-time All-Star Steve Francis, Cuttino Mobley, and Kelvin Cato to the Orlando Magic for 2-time All-NBA teamer Tracy McGrady, Juwan Howard, Tyronn Lue, and Reese Gaines. The trade sent shockwaves around the league and gave the Houston Rockets new hope. They had just traded for one of the NBA's premier players of the league in Tracy McGrady, who was coming off back-to-back scoring titles and All-Star appearances. And he was excited to play with Yao Ming.
That is truly a blessing to have a guy in Yao Ming who I think who's going to be dominant in this league. I'm going to come here and try to help him get better, and he's only going to make the game much easier for me. So I'm excited about playing with him.
With T-Mac leading the way in scoring, Yao Ming had yet another statistical jump, averaging 18.3 points per game, a full 2 blocks per game, and shooting a career-best 55% from the field. Both Yao and Tracy were voted in as All-Star starters, making the Rockets the only team of the NBA with 2 All-Star starters on the same team. Yao Ming was also the leading vote getter, as he got more than 2.5 million votes. This time, his votes didn't come from just his name. It came from his game as well. The Houston Rockets would end up finishing the season with a 51-31 record, the best record since the '96 season for the franchise. They would get awarded the 5th seed in the Western Conference, 2 spots higher than they were in the previous season, and they would get the Dallas Mavericks in the first round, winning the first 2 games on the road, but losing the next 4 out of 5, with 3 in a row and getting eliminated in 7 games in the first round. Although they got eliminated in the first round, you couldn't be a fan of the Houston Rockets and not be excited about the direction of the team. With the dynamic duo of Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming leading the way, the sky was the limit. Yao was an all-star for the third consecutive year, improving in every statistical category. McGrady was an all-star for the fifth consecutive season, and almost more importantly, they played most of the season, with Yao playing 80 games and McGrady 78. It felt like the Rockets would break through this upcoming season. But disaster struck at the beginning of the 05-06 season. Tracy McGrady experienced multiple back spasms. As a result, he missed 8 games because of the injury, including a moment in where he had to be carted off the court in a stretcher due to a severe flare-up. In December of the 05-06 season, Yao underwent surgery to clean out an infected toe that required doctors to shear off part of the bone. He missed 21 games, and a few months later, in April of 2006, he broke his left foot. Yao again required surgery. He needed 4 months to recuperate and missed the rest of the season. In December 2006, Yao fractured a bone under his right knee when he was leaping from a blocked shot and got caught under the body of teammate Chuck Hayes, whose weight came down on his knee. He left the court clutching and screaming. The injury occurred just as Yao was finding his form again. He had been averaging 27 points and 9 rebounds a game and had topped 30 points in 4 consecutive games and was even mentioned as an MVP candidate. Yao returned in March 2007 after missing more than 2 months. Yao wore a big black knee brace. Although he was only 26, his feet seemed to be much older. In February 2008, when the Rockets were in the middle of the second longest win streak in NBA history at the time, Yao was lost for the rest of the season with a stress fracture to his left foot. Yao was having a great season, averaging 23 points, 10 rebounds, but no specific event even caused the fracture. Rather, it was an accumulation of stresses on the bone. Yao complained of pain at the time during the All-Star game. He had to decide between having a screw surgically implanted in his foot or wearing a cast. Both treatments required 4 months to heal. By the time the 08-09 season started, Yao Ming seemed to be in good shape. The Rockets got off to a good start. He played in 77 games and helped the team make it to the second round of the playoffs for the first time since 1997. But at the end of Game 2, Yao injured his foot again in a game against the Los Angeles Lakers during the playoffs at the end of the 08-09 season. In his final game of the season, Yao scored 19 points and had 14 rebounds, his 6th straight double-double, and he played until the final minute. He suffered a hairline fracture. The original prognosis was it wasn't severe and he can recover in 8 to 12 weeks. But a closer look determined that the injury could be career-threatening. He underwent complex surgery that sidelined him for the entire 2009-2010 season. He lasted only 5 games at the start of the 2010-2011 season before breaking his left ankle. He had surgery in January and was lost again for the season. And in July of 2011, at the age of 30, Yao Ming announced his retirement from the NBA. In recent years, he has been plagued by injuries and missed 250 regular season games in the last 6 years. The announcement in Yao's hometown of Shanghai had a big media event. It was held in a large reception hall. Reporters had to arrive early before the event even began to go through security checks. Yao said, "I will formally end my career. Today is an important day for me and holds a special meaning for both my basketball career and my future. I had to leave the court since I suffered a stress fracture in my left foot for the 3rd time at the end of last year. My past 6 months were an agonizing wait. I have been thinking about my future over and over. Today, I am announcing a personal decision, ending my career as a basketball player and officially retiring. But one door is closing and another one is open." And just like that, Yao Ming had retired at age 30. But by the end of his career, he was an 8-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. Although some of his All-Star selections were from his insane popularity, his talent speaks for itself. So injuries aside, how good was Yao Ming? In my opinion, he was the definition of a complete center. He could dominate the low post, inside and out, had a soft shooting touch, he could shoot the mid-range jumper, hit an occasional 3 when needed, he had guard-like passing skills. There wasn't a lot Yao couldn't do on the basketball court. His skills for his size is just unheard of. Statistically, his stats don't jump off the screen, but you gotta take into account the fact that he played with some ball-dominant guards. So he was never really given an opportunity to take a lot of shots. In fact, he only averaged 13 shots per game for his career. The league was also a lot more physical than it is now. But anyways, what are your thoughts on Yao? In a fantasy world where Yao never got injured and stayed healthy, would he be the best in today's NBA? My personal opinion, I think he would dominate today's NBA. He would probably average around 30 and 13 with 4 blocks and probably 4 fouls because flopping exists so much in today's NBA. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.